Hey guys, back with another video. So I know I don't really do music related things on this channel a lot. Even if I haven't uploaded in a while, I generally just kind of like make gaming content or upload stupid memes or whatever. Probably where most of you are coming from that are gonna see this. So if you've never seen me, here's me. I wanted to call attention and maybe generate a couple more listeners for an album that I find really impressive that came out a couple years ago that still hasn't gained like a whole lot of traction. Um, okay. So first off, just to preface this, the album is What a Miracle by Elijah Kealy. And it's around 18 tracks. It's a little over an hour, and I've listened to it probably 20 to 30 times since it's come out and since I discovered it. I actually discovered it at like 2 in the morning because it accidentally like autoplayed on YouTube, and then I fell asleep. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, huh, this is in my history, but I don't remember ever hearing it. And I listened to it and I was pretty, I don't know, my thoughts on it were pretty average my first listen. But once I got around to the second, third listen, I learned to appreciate what was really going on with it, and now I love it. I think it's amazing. I I think it's incredibly impressive, especially given the short amount of time it seems he made it in. Judging by all the information that I can find, he only made it in like 5 months or less. And I know bigger artists that it's I know bigger and like higher paid, higher budget artists who have taken much less time to create worse projects, significantly worse projects. Out the gate, to preface this, I would give this album a 93 out of 100, just because I think it's extremely innovative. It's probably the best, most comprehensive thing that's come out in the last 4 years, with maybe the exception of the Ants from Up There album by Black Country New Road, which I would honestly say is pretty on par with this one. You might disagree with that. You might be like, that's ridiculous, but music taste is subjective, obviously. Moving on to like the actual track list, or just some tracks that stood out to me, were the title track, What a Miracle, which begins the album. And I just feel like a lot of the instrumentals, like right out the gate on this, I could tell that they were well mixed and it was well produced, and there was a decent amount of time that had been put into that aspect of it. And listening to the rest of the album only strengthened that belief. The only issue I would find with this, which is why there's 7 points subtracted, why it's only a 93 out of 100, is a little bit of the lyricism on it. Obviously, it's not an artist's job to pander to everyone's thoughts, beliefs, and feelings all of the time. And I get that Elijah Kealy was just trying to like express himself with this album, and I think he did that very well. But just like for my tastes, I guess some of the lyrics are a little bit too, I don't even know how to express it, just like very dark, and it seems like certain things are like delved and dived into lyric wise, like on the song Bride, that are just kind of redundant and could have been expressed in better ways than they were. But you know, obviously it's art, it's subjective. It's not my job not to say like these lyrics are bad or these lyrics are good, because they'll mean different things to different people at different times. I know that I have genuinely cried to a lot of the lyrics on this album before. I'm not saying all of them are bad at all. I think a lot of the lyrics on the album are phenomenal. Just there's certain times, like in the song Bride, and in a few sections on the second half, that were like off-putting. One more point of criticism, and then the rest is just going to be complete praise. The instrumentals are somewhat formulaic throughout the album. Like, you'll have pretty much the same instruments from track to track, and there's not going to be a lot of deviation there. But I feel like he remedies that by turning his voice into an instrument a lot of the times. Like, there's a whole lot of vocal harmonies throughout this thing. He will overlay tracks of himself just like harmonizing with the instrumental on a couple of tracks, and I really like that effect. I feel like that's really done well. While the guitar work on here isn't like super intricate and crazy, it's just enough on that box to make it enjoyable, make it flow well with the rest of the melody, create a melody on a lot of the rest of the songs. I think Paradise is a great example of a song where you take a pretty simple riff, pretty simple part of the music where it's just the da na 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 da na na na. I feel like that's a really good example of making something grandiose and making something really big that all comes together out of something so simple at the start. The albums just subverted a lot of my expectations. There were places that I thought the lyrics would go, places that I thought the instruments would go, and I turned out to be completely wrong, but the album was so much better as a result, just because it's unpredictable. Um, if I could listen to this album for the first time right now, I would in a heartbeat, just because it's like a really good experience. Like I said, 93 out of 100, phenomenal album. I would recommend any person listening or watching this video to go give a listen, go support him on Spotify. He's super underrated. And thanks for listening to my ramblings. See you guys next time.